Welcome back, one and all, to another episode of Kamen Rider Revice, or an episode where we look at Kamen Rider Revice. Today we are here with episode 14, The Commander is a Deadman. And honestly, I was debating back and forth if I was going to do this episode, because honestly, it's a pretty light episode, especially compared to the last episode, or even some of the episodes before that. But hey, I decided to do it anyway because this honestly backtracks and makes a lot of stuff more interesting in the background of the series. And before we get into the episode, just let me do my episode reminder that I have some tokusatsu inspired books available for those of you who like to read. Links to the website and everything else are in the description below. If you're curious, take a peek. If you don't really care, then hey, the rest of the video is available to you. So, yeah, let's talk about the episode. So the episode starts off with the Deadmen making their plans. They basically want to hurry along their newest recruits in order to get them to the Gift X phase, or Gifu X phase, so that they can be proper sacrifices and basically, hurry up and revive Gift-sama. At the same time, Julio, I think that one's Julio, I mix them up sometimes, is basically going over the sixth sacrifice, because remember they need 6 of these things in order to fully revive Gift-sama, and he tells Aguilera he has someone in mind, and that will be brought up at the end of the episode as the big twist. So yeah, soon they'll have the 6 sacrifices that they need in order to fully revive Gift-sama. Oh, no, it was Oceleta, I believe, who said that. Whichever one's the squid. Yeah, it was Oceleta. So, yeah. In the meantime, Kudo and Haitani, Kudo being the lawyer and Haitani being the cult leader, kind of. I mean, he had cult leader vibes in his debut. They decide to get their revenge on their respective Igarashi sibling. Kudo deciding to go after go after Ikki, and Hitani deciding to go after Sakura. Meanwhile, Daiji and Hiromu are basically with George trying to figure out about the commander. As revealed in last week's episode, he is actually a member of the Deadmen, and planning to steal the Gift-sama stamp so that they can revive it, so they can finish the resurrection. We'll get back to that. So most of this episode is just fight scene, like a big fight scene between Kudo and Ikki. Kudo using the Saber Tiger Deadman Vice stamp instead of the Kangaroo one, and Hitani still using the Planarian Vice stamp that he used earlier. What's interesting in this case is the fact that Kudo just rushes into the fucking bathhouse, beats up Ikki's dad, and runs up into Ikki, ready to fight. And Ikki, the main thing Ikki's mad about is the fact he's wearing his shoes in the bathhouse. And goes to take his shoes off. Like, he tackles the man and starts trying to take his shoes off. And I'm just like, damn, there's some jokes I can make, but I'm not gonna make them. It's like, oh god. And just seeing him tackle this man and just go straight for the shoes, this is like, damn. Like, he wasn't upset. Like, he probably didn't know that he attacked his dad, but no, his main thing was, I'm going for your fucking shoes. Anyway, meanwhile, Hitani is attacking Sakura at school. At least it's kind of a funny joke where at first all the students think that maybe he's like Sakura's boyfriend or something, which would be kind of weird because she's a high schooler and he's a fucking grown-ass man. But, I guess they don't think about that kind of shit when they wrote the script. But, yeah. Obviously, the school freaks the fuck out when the dead man shows up and he tries to attack Sakura. At least to a bit of a quick joke where Sakura is constantly trying to transform, or trying to find a place to transform, but her friends, who also revealed to be fans of Sakura's Kamen Rider form, Kamen Rider John, keep finding her and trying to help get her to run the fuck away. Or they're trying to hide, and she just runs in their hiding spot, tries to transform, and they're like, oh, gotta find a new hiding spot. Yeah. It's kind of like a Scooby-Doo gag almost, and it's just quick enough. It's a quick joke, and it was on from there, and I kind of like that. Anyway, obviously, Kudo and Hitani go to level 2. In Hitani's case, he's kind of forced to because Oceletta just kind of shows up out of nowhere and is like, just fight her yourself, and forces him into level 2 Deadman. And then Sakura just transforms. I mean, she transforms before that, but it's also interesting because you guys can just do that. Like, you guys didn't do that before with anyone else, but you guys can just do that. But yeah, so they fight, and they're cool fights. They're a little quick. I mean, they're just there to be fights. But the thing that's interesting, or at least that feels a bit weird, is the fact that in the middle of his fight with Ikki, Kudo mentions Ikki being a busybody hypocrite, and it feels kind of weird because this feels like they got that plot point about Ikki's character out of the way in episode 4. And he said he was the biggest busybody in all of Japan. But if it kind of weirdly hits him in this episode, and I don't know if I'm misreading something or if it's just a translation thing. But I feel this is something that, honestly, if it was going to be a deal with Ikki's character, should have been brought up earlier instead of being brought up like randomly in the middle of this fight. That's basically to fill time before the big plot twist at the end of the episode. Obviously, Ikki wins, and we then cut to the third subplot, because this episode is split into 3 fucking subplots, where they're basically making a trap for the chameleon Deadman who attacks them. George is able to figure out who the chameleon was because when Braid Rex was in development, only him and the commander knew its name was Braid Rex, and the chameleon Deadman called it Braid Rex, so he obviously knew who he was. They set a trap in an empty storehouse, or an empty container in Phoenix's base, and it's obviously pretty clever. They catch him, and then he drops the bomb. Yeah, the chameleon Deadman isn't the commander. He's been assuming the commander's form since episode 1. Yeah, the reason the Deadman attacked the, I guess, promotion ceremony wasn't just a random attack. It was a distraction because all of Phoenix's top brass, outside of the lead commander, were watching the promotion ceremony, or were at the promotion ceremony, leaving the commander by himself. So the chameleon Deadman infiltrated the base, killed him, and took his place, with no one being the wiser until it was time for them to launch their plan. Again, did I mention I like smart villains? Because that was a brilliant-ass move. Like, yeah, it's a retcon, but it's a pretty clever retcon. And it's also pretty cool that no one figured it out. Like, no one knew that this man was an imposter this whole ass time. How long has it been? It's been weeks, probably months, and no one knew this man was an imposter the whole time. Oh, God. So yeah, this causes Hiromu to freak out because he looked up to the commander. He takes out both Daiji and Hiromu before they can transform, and basically about to assault George before George just gives him a Gifu Vice stamp, or just a Gifu stamp because that's not actually a Vice stamp. So anyway, with the new Gifu stamp, or with the reacquired Gifu stamp, the Deadmen are ready to begin the ceremony. They just have to properly get their new level 2s up to GIF X. They do it. Interestingly enough, we get a glimpse at the chameleon Deadman's true form, but he quickly shifts form to the commander's form again because he doesn't really like his own form. And that's kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure it's just there because they want to keep using the actor, who, yeah, they're making mean faces out of him right now because of the whole performance he just gave, but man, that was unnerving as fuck when I actually watched it. It's only hilarious in hindsight looking at his face, but in the episode itself, it's unnerving when he just switches gears, like completely switches from stoic to hamming the fuck up, which is the point. And yeah, it also goes to the fact that I recognize the actor from at least Amazon's, and apparently he just typically is stock cast as playing more stoic roles. So him just immediately switching gears to be hammy as fuck just probably freaked out a lot of people. So yeah, they have 5 sacrifices, before Aguilera asked about the sixth one, Osaleta drops the bomb that she is the sixth sacrifice. Yeah, she's been prepared to be the sixth sacrifice this entire time, instead of being the actual full-on commander of the Deadmen and Gift Sama's bride. So yeah, they have their 6 sacrifices now, and all that's left is to revive Gift Sama. And that's how we end the episode. So overall thoughts. Again, a bulk of this episode is just really cool intro, pretty middle part with some decent fights, and then bomb-ass ending. Because, like, that ending is a literal bomb, because it just changes the entire face of the series up till now, with the whole Chameleon Deadman reveal, as well as the whole Aguilera being the 6th sacrifice thing. We do see a bit of a flash to Aguilera's childhood, where she was being raised by the cult, because this is a cult. And they basically tell her that she's going to be Gift Sama's bride. And I wonder if they meant, oh, you'll be his wife in death as a sacrifice, instead of, her literally being his bride. So that, again, a lot of major revelations. And it just makes me really want to get to next episode more, because that's just going to be the biggest thing. Because, of all the shit that's going to go down. Now, my big question is, are they actually going to be able to revive Gift Sama? Because we're only at the Christmas midpoint, or the end of Act 1 for a series. This would be where we shift off some of the lesser generals, or at least the first major general for a plot, and then move on to the secondary general. But in this case, it looks like we're shaping up to just wipe the whole board, similar to how they did in 01's midpoint. But back then when that happened and they got rid of Metsubo Jinrai. I wonder if they're going to get rid of the Deadmen as they are presently, revive Gift Sama, or at least break the seal on him so he can come back out, maybe in a weakened state, and then he'll set off and make a new faction, and we'll kind of end up with him forming like a group of pure demons and not just Deadmen. This is only speculation. I doubt that would happen. It'd be interesting if it does happen, where we just get more like Vice-like demons instead of just Deadmen, or the Deadmen just become more Vice-like demons, and we get an explanation about what demons actually are, and at least how some demons are like Vice, some demons are like Daiji, and then we have Loveku, who's honestly a more Vice-like demon, but just takes that cutesy shape. So yeah, overall, good episode. The middle part was kind of meandering, in all honesty. Like, again, the fights were pretty cool, but yeah, the fights were quick because, again, the middle part was pretty meandering. It was just there to fill out space and get the requisite fight scene in that they need for plot progression. As well as the whole icky busybody plot point thing, which feels really weirdly placed in the episode. I mean, I don't hate it, but it just feels weirdly placed for his overall character arc for the series. Again, overall, really liked the episode, like in Revice. This series, like, so far, Deadmen have probably been my second favorite villains in Reiwa. Like, I know it's a 3-person competition right now, because we have Metsubo Jinrai, and then we have the fucking I forget their name from Saber, and that was only like a few months ago. I'm never gonna look it up. And then we have the Deadmen. Like, Metsubo Jinrai were pretty smart villains, because all they needed to do was get the singularity data for their revival of the arc, and then they kind of got subsized and just disappeared as villains in 01, because Guy became the main villain for a while, and then he was basically redeemed when the arc showed up as the main villain, and then kind of revived Metsubo Jinrai before they all turned against them. And then they were all killed off in the special, which I'm not salty over. If I tell myself that, it must be true. When we eventually get to those 01 and other specials, there will be salt. Yeah, it's going to take like 2 years to hopefully maybe it'll be less salty, but there will be still salt. But yeah, the villains in Saber honestly felt like they're all being manipulated by the one dude, Storios. But even then, Storios felt like he was just an asspull villain who just came up with, like, the winning strategy by the end of the plot instead of, him basically carefully and methodically planning out a solution or planning out his ultimate end goal. Here, while you could argue the commander thing is kind of an asspull, it doesn't feel like one. It honestly feels like a pretty clever twist. The Deadmen have felt like pretty strong villains. They implanted an agent within Phoenix so that they could seek out, high quality sacrifices, spread around device stamps to various people, and gathered more cult members to tempt people to use device stamps in order to find out said people have been arrested by Phoenix so that they can get their hands on them. Because as long as they eventually get their hands on them to perform the Gifex ritual, that's all that matters in the end, so that they can become a proper sacrifice, even if they're eventually beaten by Revice. So again, pretty clever villains that act pretty smart and with intelligent design. Why is this so freaking hard in some series? My god, I'm not even just referring to Toku stuff. I mean, like, just series in general. Like, seriously. Like, some villains just feel like ass-pull after ass-pull. Again, not to make fun of Saber, or the villains don't seem like they have an overarching goal, or just feel like they're meandering at best. Like, I love it when a series can basically backwards in a villain's more meandering actions into there being an overarching goal. Similar, like, Forza did this. Forza did this pretty good with the horoscopes. And how at first it just felt like, they're just looking for more people to join their group. They're just trying to specifically awaken the correct horoscopes so that their leader can do his whole space warp thing. Again, that was clever. An interesting use of the setting and everything else. And again, Revice is doing the same thing, especially with the whole Deadman cult angle. So, yeah. I'm liking the Deadmen. I hope they keep it up after we finish this first arc of the story and move on to the post-Christmas stuff. And it makes me wonder if the post-Christmas new writer that we're going to get is going to be an actual evil writer, considering the fact that this is all building up to Gift's revival, and maybe, let's say, Aguilera becomes a Kamen Rider using Gift Sama as her demon or something like that. I'm just spitballing here. I mean, it's unlikely, but I'm just spitballing here, people, because, just change things up, especially considering the fact that all the writers have demons and use them in their own interesting ways. So, yeah. What do you think of the episode? If you liked it, you can talk about it in the comments below if you really want to. I don't even care about the whole algorithm and shit like that. I just kind of want to talk to people about Revice a bit more. I mean, that's why I started doing these videos in the first place. Talk about Kamen Rider with people. And yeah. I'll see you all next time.